This is the latest edition of Front Up, and I'm Whitey Willauer, and I've got a great guest today, the famous Linda Loring. That's you.
I hope it is. It used to be, anyway.
I see. Linda, how are you today?
I'm fine, Whitey, and it's always a pleasure to see you.
Well, you look
so
great.
young, dear.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, you look beautiful yourself.
Well, thank you. Throwing the compliments around this way. I don't want to trip over them.
Don't you dare. Tell me, you have the Linda Loring Foundation, and that's out off of Eel Point Road. How did all of that get started? Give me a little background on that.
Well, Whitey, it was one of those things as a poor girl.
You're a poor girl?
Well, I never had an allowance. Anything I wanted, I had to ask my parents for.
I see.
And that was, you know, golly, even when you've been overseas in a war and you come home and you still, I couldn't even get I think we were paid $125 a month. Anyhow, that was a long time ago, but I wanted to use some of the money to buy a house down here.
Yes.
And we were in the car. My father was driving. He jammed his foot on the brake and he said, "What's wrong with Ray's Court?" And I said, "Daddy, I want to have a home of my own. I'm 26 years old." Nothing was further said, but I wanted to get the money that I had in war bonds. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he became very ill, and so we didn't negotiate very well with him. We had to have the bank drill the box. And I can remember my mother saying, and the trust officer there, to this young man.
Was this on Nantucket?
No, this was in Boston.
In Boston.
First National Bank.
First National Bank.
Colony, Old Colony Trust. Anyway, my mother looked at this man drilling with all the paraphernalia and said, "Do you have a nighttime job?" He didn't think it was funny at all. But there it is. We all have family things going on in our lives that we never expect.
Yeah. So that now you got the property. Now, how did you get the Linda Loring Foundation?
My father, putting me on my own, said, "Go to the bank and get a mortgage." And I said, "Oh, what? That's for poor people." And he said, "You're poor." And it was Alcon Chadwick that really saved my life. He said, "How much money do you want?" And I said, "I want $7,500. And what are you going to do with it?" And I told him I was going to move a house and build onto it. Mm-hmm. And he said, "I think you better take $10,000. And I said, "Oh, I don't need that amount of money." And he said, "I think it would be wise." And then he said, "What are you going to do for collateral?" I paused and I thought, oh my God. I never heard that word before. And I said, "I don't think I want any." And he said, "You may not, but we do." That was the initiation. I think it was something like 3.5%. And I never liked mathematics anyway, so I said, 3.5%, nothing at all. But it was a wonderful number, 2468. And one time coming back from the West Coast, I'm from Sun Valley, Idaho, actually.
You were from Sun Valley? Oh, you're coming back from Sun Valley.
Yeah. And I was about 10 days late in paying for my mortgage, which was March, June, September, and December. And I thought, oh God, no, I can't find it. And it's somewhere kicking around the apartment in Boston. And so I called the bank, and the cashier said, "Oh, it's the most beautiful day. The school is closed, and the Main Street is closed, and all the kids are sliding down Orange Street. Just beautiful. Well, what's your number, Linda?" And I said, it's 2468. And he said, 2468. Who do we appreciate? Gee, it's a beautiful day. I was never charged for being 10 days late. Nowadays, I mean, snowballs would come at you. But I just started putting pieces together. Everybody was buying waterfront, and I thought, I think I'll go for pond front. Mm-hmm. And that's how it all started. I moved a house from Matticat, and nobody, I don't think in those days you had to get any permission for anything. Nobody cared what I did out there in that junky old area. Nobody wanted anything except me. And that's how I got so involved with animals, always have been. Even your little white Sealyham when you were a little tiny boy.
Was that the white dog that we had?
You had a Sealyham.
Thank you.
Well, it's one of those things. I naturally fell in love with a deer, and everyone is different, but they're so easy to tame. You really don't have to shoot them. If you just be honest with them, don't look at them in the eye, but you just put your hand out, they'll come right up to you. Mm-hmm. And I had a swan, Jake, and he had a wife, Miranda, way across the pond. And one day, after Jake had been living very close to me, this female swan and 5 little cygnets came across the pond, very proud. And he, like any male human, looked the other way. And she was so proud to bring these little cygnets over. He just loved the way he was living high on the hog, getting special food from me by hand. And I said, it is yours. You better claim them. You wouldn't look at those little cygnets.
So how did you get the idea? You went out and raised some money for the Lindaloring Foundation?
I don't know how exactly it happened. I think a few people said what a good idea it was. And I, talk about chasing men. Boy, did I chase men. I'd sit at the top of Trot's Hills and wait like a praying mantis to find somebody with a gun on the property. I was really ready to kill. I've met some nice ones, but I met some nasty ones.
This is to protect your deer?
Absolutely, during the hunting season.
Yeah.
And of course there was always the 2 famous bad boys that used to hunt illegally. I'd see their cars going 5 miles an hour down the Eel Point Road just at dusk and then at dawn when the deer come out to feed or go home to sleep. And I think everybody knows who they are. They don't need to be named. We've lost one of them.
Oh, I get you now. They're terrorized by you.
I don't know. I wasn't terrorized by them. I was just furious.
I see. Now, but how did you get all of the money that you got at the? I mean, how did you raise the money to have it sold and develop the Lindaloring Foundation?
Well, I had to sell 3 houses and 6 lots down on Washington Street. Mm-hmm. Wish I hadn't sold them when I sold them, but that's all right. And then people just became more and more interested in what I was doing, people that I didn't necessarily know. Mm-hmm. And it just developed more or less by itself.
So you've got Kitty and Vern working there, and you shake your head on that.
I think we've got to spruce up our. We only have 11 people on the board, and I think we need a few more.
Okay.
Maybe you.
Well,
you're a neighbor.
Well, I am a neighbor, but we'll have to talk about this some other time.
That's fine, Whitey.
Okay. What brought you to the island, or were you born here?
No, I wasn't born here. I was brought here, I think when I was 1922.
I see.
My grandfather used to come here shooting plover.
I see.
So you never know which side of the barrel you're going to be on.
So you came here as a 2-year-old, and you've been here ever since?
No, just in the summertime, June 15th to September 15th.
But now you're here all year round.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great.
It's a very nice place, and I love it in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
I have my gorgeous man, the man of the house.
I see.
It's a Maine Coon cat. It runs my life.
I see.
And it's, even though I still have a home in Boston, it's very difficult to take him up there. He likes his own backyard. He's got a Pekingese that he thinks he owns. So I'm very comfortable here in Nantucket, and this winter has been so beautiful.
It has. It has.
No snow to shovel. I feel sorry for the people that love skiing, and well, now that we've got that fabulous skating rink, what a blessing that's been.
That really has been great. Well, Linda, I guess I've gotten signals that we've used our 15 minutes up, but I want to thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you, Whitey, for any interest in my foundation. Mm-hmm. That's one of my big things in life.
Yeah.
And I hope it will continue long after I am not around.
Yeah. Well, you've been around a long time. Weren't you weren't you my babysitter at one time?
Oh, God, I knew you were going to bring that up. Your Aunt Bunty and she was gorgeous. She ran away with every fellow I liked. That woman was wonderful. But a boon for men and not for me. So I was not your babysitter, but I might have drowned you at some point if I had. There's a lot of water around Nantucket.
I can imagine you two young ladies driving me around in the back of the rumble seat.
That's right.
I can remember being bounced around.
Well, maybe that's what happened to you. You were bounced around too much.
I see. Well, Linda, thank you very much, and thanks for coming here.
Thank you, Whitey.
Right. It's been enjoyable. Thank you.
Take good care.